Today, we're reacting to Nikon's announcement video of the Z52. I've been a huge fan of the Nikon Z50, the Z30. I think Nikon's APS-C mirrorless cameras are the best bang for your buck out of all the camera brands out there. And it seems like with every iteration of that creator camera, they keep inching closer and closer to like the ultimate device. And so a lot of the new features that are on the Z52 are things that a lot of people have been asking for, except for in-body image stabilization, which I don't know if we're ever gonna get that in a creator camera. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're looking for a photography community on Twitch to hang out with, talk cameras, photography, editing photos, all that good stuff, then make sure you come and follow on twitch.tv/TLD Academy. And also subscribe to this YouTube channel. Would love to have you part of the community. Enjoy the video. Nikon has 3 videos that came out over the last 24 hours of the Nikon Z52, which this is Nikon's second iteration, obviously, of their Z50 camera, their very first mirrorless APS-C camera that came out like in 2019. I can't believe it's almost been 5 years since this Z50 came out, and now they've released a new, upgraded, revised model of this camera created specifically for creators. So looking forward to watching these videos. Here we go.
This is the Nikon Z50II, and I'm going to go over all the new ways that this camera has been upgraded and tuned to perfection for creators who are on the go and need a lightweight but
son, just like right out the gate here, we're zoomed in on one of the most important features that this Z52 camera is all about. Let me back it up right here. This button here is the picture control button, whereas on the Z30, I'm looking at my Z30 right now, this was actually the record button. So what they've done is they moved this record button. It was right here, it was really big, and they moved it to here, which is consistent with like the Z6II, the Z5, those bigger flagship models. That was something that I was critical of when I got the Z30, was that it didn't make sense to me why they put the recording button here, even though I know that the Z30 was more like video creator friendly versus like the Z50 or ZFC. I just felt like it was just kind of weird and out of place that they would shift that record button from here or from here, move it to there. It just didn't make sense to me for like continuity wise and stuff. So I'm super glad to see that they moved it, but it's such good prime real estate to have a button here. So I'm actually really excited to try this out. Yo, what up, Celeste? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, on that morning guy, barely alive. Another big difference here you're gonna see between like the Z30 and the Z50. So the Z50 ergonomics for me was like hands down the best Nikon camera, button layout, everything, because everything was accessible with your right hand. And so it looks like with the Z52, they moved, or not they moved, because on the original Z50, they had this switch between camera and movie mode right here at your pointer finger. That was easy to access. And so for the Z30, they actually had it back here, which again, I feel like it just didn't make sense as to the reason why they moved it. The Z30 again, not having the EVF. So they had a lot of like space here in the middle where they put this trigger or this switch. So really glad to see button placement being improved for the Z52, coming back over here, replacing that big record button, and now replacing it with something that's very interesting. So this picture control button is supposed to be able to allow you to select different film simulations, if you will. Very similar to like Fujifilm cameras, and the reason why they're so popular and why a lot of people love Fujifilms is because they're film simulations. So I believe with the Nikon Z6 III, they introduced like recipes where you can go onto your computer, create like different like film simulations or recipes, looks, presets, whatever, load them into your camera, and then you can shoot with that. My brother actually asked me if he could borrow my Z30 They were gonna buy a Fujifilm, and he's like, actually, can we borrow your Z30? Does it have different preset looks? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. And the Z30 does have some, but I think this is gonna be even more so with the Z52. Really good looking film simulations, and we can take a look at some of those today. I've got the result images so we can check that out. But yeah, really excited to see how this button plays out. Anyways, from the get-go, they're showing you, bam, we've got the picture control button changed. And then another thing is the original Z50 had a flip down LCD screen, which was an interesting choice because, as you know, the camera mount, like screw mount thing to like put your camera on a tripod is like right in the middle on the bottom of the Z50. So when you're trying to like vlog or put your camera on a selfie stick, you're like right in the way of the flip down LCD. And Nikon's solution for that was to buy a separate mounting plate from SmallRig, where it makes you mount your tripod under the battery cover. So another big design upgrade you're gonna see is this vari-angle LCD, so no longer flipping down. Yeah, sorry, I'm in like total product review mode right now, Celeste. So put your thinking caps on, get locked in, let's go.
And tuned to perfection for creators who are on the go and need a lightweight but powerful system. Photographers, content creators, or aspiring filmmakers looking to expand their ability to make content beyond the limitations of smartphones have to take a close look at interchangeable lens camera systems that offer a much deeper range of controls.
Content. Such an interesting, fun word. I wonder how long content is going to last in our culture and society. I feel like maybe another 5 more years and we're gonna be burnt out on the word content. Canon girl learning a lot. Well, hey, great to have you in here. But yeah, I mean, very true. This is a powerhouse of a camera. And for people who are content creators, not just to use their cell phones, but to look into buying something like this, because not only do you get all the bells and whistles of like a 4K video machine and, you know, being able to take good photos, but you have the ability to use different lenses and swap lenses and get really good professional looking stills and video. So I can't wait to check this out.
But with so many options out there, where do you start? In the Nikon Z series lineup, there might be no better place to begin your journey than with the upgraded Z50II. Starting with a high-performance 20.9 megapixel APS-C-sized CMOS sensor.
20.9 megapixel sensor, which is pretty much the same as the Z50, as the Z30, as the ZF. We have not seen that change over the last 5 years. And honestly, do we need to see that change? I was using my friend's Z7 at a wedding the other day. He's my second shooter. And his files, like 45 megapixels, are like 80 megabytes. And I know you're like, yeah, it's so big, it's good quality, you can crop in, blah, blah, blah. But like, really, do you really want to be editing 80 megapixel files? You really don't need to. Like my main workhorses are 24 megapixel. They're 40 megabytes, plenty of information to work with, plenty to crop in. And these 20 megapixel files from a creator's camera, I think is like more than enough, more than plenty for being able to take good shots.
This smaller and more compact Z-mount camera is fully compatible with all Nikkor Z lenses. But unlike when the first Z50 was released, Nikon has now several more DX.
Let's go. We got several DX lenses. I was just looking at this the other day. It's pretty cheap. It's only like $200. This is the 24 1.7. And then of course, if you guys know, this focal length is about a 35 millimeter focal length ish. Okay. So you're going to have that crop factor on these APS-C cameras. Anything that isn't full frame, you're going to have that crop factor. So you definitely have to be aware of that. So this right here, this 24 is going to give you like a 35 millimeter look there. And that's something I'm looking into.
Dedicated lenses in their lineup, as well as a few full-frame lenses that are equally suited to perform on more agile DX format. In addition to the popular dual lens kit of 16-50 and 50-250, Creators in the system can now take advantage of the 24 f1.7, 28-28, and 40 f2 compact primes, as well as the 26mm pancake and versatile.
Ooh, this 26mm pancake is so cool. I would love to get my hands on that. In fact, I'm still in the market. I'm looking for a lens that, like, if I am to get my hands on a camera like this, I would love to have probably this 24 or this 26. Probably this 24 just because it goes down to 1.7. Would love to use this lens for live streaming.
18 to 147 times zoom lens, and every vlogger's best friend, the 12 to 28 power zoom. Add to this the newly released 35mm and 50mm 1.4 lenses, and this overall system with the Z52 at the center becomes the pound-for-pound champ in the Z lineup. Starting with the latest generation X-Speed 7 processor, Nikon has beefed up the autofocus system to have all the modes that even the flagship models sport, including full 9-subject detection AF, as well as dedicated bird mode found in higher-end models such as the Z8.
Let's go. So, man, this is huge. Having the X-Speed 7 processing engine from the Z9 and the Z8 trickling down all the way to Nikon's creator class, like crop sensor cameras, that's a massive W. The autofocusing system that I used on the ZF, the Z8, the Z9 is really stinking good. And so to be able to get that type of quality in a creator camera like this is a massive W.
The capture rate of the Z52 breaks the ceiling of the previous 11 frames per second mechanical shutter and can now shoot full resolution 15 and 30 frames per second bursts using the new electronic high-speed capture options. And this includes Nikon's pre-release capture function, which starts shooting 1 full second before fully pressing the shutter.
Isn't that crazy? So this camera now can shoot 30 frames per second in electronic shutter mode, which is awesome, but it also has pre-release capture, which basically, like, it'll start recording JPEG stills before you fully depress the shutter button. So, like, if you're looking to get a shot of like someone jumping at a skate park on their bike and you're trying to time it just right, but you happen to miss it, if you have pre-release capture on, the camera will have already been recording 1 second prior to you fully depressing that shutter button, and then you're able to pick those JPEG stills out. And yeah, pretty cool feature.
Photographers shooting in brighter ambient zones will benefit from an EVF twice as bright as competitive models and with a more streamlined design to make it fit easily into your bags and cases.
That's a little detail there. That's a big deal. The electronic viewfinder being about twice as bright as the original Z50, that is a big W.
Nikon has even upgraded the functionality of the screen itself with the popular Touch FN option that allows you to drag your finger on the screen surface for precise movement of the focus point.
That is something I have not tried yet. I think, did Touch FN come out with the Z6 III? I think it did. I don't think Touch FN came out with the ZF. I don't remember that being a feature when I had it. But the Touch basically, like, as you can see here, being able to like put your finger on the screen and then touch where you want to focus without like using your toggle or the arrow buttons, like, that's actually kind of cool. So I'm excited to try this out. I don't know, we'll see. I wonder if there's limitations to like where you can touch with your fingers since your face is right up in the electronic viewfinder. But I don't know, looks kind of a cool feature.
This camera features a built-in pop-up flash that's much more powerful than smartphone lights and can even be used with slow shutter speeds to balance ambient light. The Z52 becomes the latest camera in Nikon's lineup, compatible with the Nikon Imaging Cloud, in which you can upload images right to your cloud.
I have not used this yet. Very interesting, but you can see wirelessly, you can download imaging recipes, basically like film simulations or presets from Nikon's cloud service, and it will go straight to your camera. That's pretty sick.
Which you can upload images right to your cloud space from the camera using Wi-Fi. But even more exciting, users of the Z52 can now explore a website of curated flexible color picture controls from exclusive contributors, examine their settings and sample photographs, and in the end download their personal bespoke color presets right to your Z52. Really cool. And if that's not enough, Nikon even provides a free software to allow you to create your own flexible color picture controls using more sophisticated color wheels and tone curve options that you can use to develop your own personal style. The Z52 makes it even easier for you to visualize the effect of picture control presets to your image by improving the GUI and even allowing you to define a reduced selection of picture controls for quicker toggle. There's also a dedicated picture control button at the top of the camera for rapid access. For the video creator, the Z52 broadens its appeal with longer recording times of over 2 hours.
That is
higher frame rate when shooting.
So like this is a big deal right here. Why the Z30 was so popular and so great, because they can record over 2 hours worth of video. And then of course here with the Z52 bringing that feature in. So that's really awesome. I really love this microphone, by the way. I wonder how well it performs.
In 4K up to 60 frames per second, improvements to stabilization, autofocus, and noise performance. Upgraded 10-bit capture.
Wait. Mark Cruz, what did you just say? Upgrades to in-camera stabilization? So like IBS is something that people have been wanting in these creator cameras from Nikon. And I swear every single like creator camera that comes out or is released, everyone's in the comments like, we need IBS. So what Mark Cruz just said,
10-bit capture and noise performance, improvements to stabilization,
improvements to stabilization. So I'm very curious to know what those improvements are. If it's not an actual IBIS inside the camera, like what is it? Interesting.
Focus and noise performance. Upgraded 10-bit capture that includes an option to shoot an N-Log internally and even take advantage of the new red LUTs for Nikon cameras. YouTubers specializing in product reviews will love the easy setup of the product review mode. Tally light indicating when recording is in progress, and even a new video self-time.
Slipped in another feature called product review mode. When they sent the press release out and I read through it, I thought that was very interesting. Basically, like product review mode allows the camera to keep more in focus, like the thing you're showing on camera, or like a detail shot of like what you're doing tutorial wise and stuff like that. So very interested to see what that mode is like in action.
Feature. The side ports now offer a multifunction headphone output that doubles as a terminal to use Nikon's new MCDC3 wired remote, as well as a USB-C terminal for charging and USB power delivery. In fact, the Z52 is the first Nikon camera to be UVC and UAC compliant.
Bro, look at this. All right, now that is sick. Okay, and I didn't fully grasp it in my video, but basically this has UVC and UAB connectivity. So UVC is USB video channel, UAC is USB audio channel. So basically you plug in your camera using USB-C to any like USB-C device, and you don't need a capture card. Look at this. It's pulling the video from the camera to the smartphone. So I didn't like fully grasp the functionality of this. I played it safe in my video and I just kind of said it more like when you plug it into your PC. I did not realize that you can plug it straight into like your freaking cell phone. That is a massive W. That is a game changer. Not the first camera company to do this. I know Sony's creator type cameras also have this functionality. I think Canon does. I'm not too sure, but that is something that like I know Sony was doing from early on. So it's definitely not something Nikon was doing from the beginning, but again, awesome that Nikon is freaking doing it. Yo, what up, Mapes? Aaron's IRL stream era incoming. If my life was only as exciting as Maple's.
Supercharging your webcam game by making it capable to stream. All these options complement a body whose ergonomic design make it irresistible to carry with you everywhere for whenever inspiration strikes, allowing you to discover, play, and create the quality content that matches your expectations.
Love
For
it.
more information on the Z50II, visit our website.
Let's go. Okay, so I will say this as well. The Z50 was my favorite APS-C mirrorless camera from Nikon, even though the Z30 came out, the ZFC. I didn't really like the ZFC because it felt kind of plasticky and gimmicky. Wasn't really into the dials and stuff on that camera. The Z30, I ended up buying the Z30 because at the time, it was the only APS-C camera from Nikon that can record over 2 hours long. And yeah, I actually really liked the form factor and how small it was. But like ultimately, my heart was with the Z50 because it has the electronic viewfinder. I liked the flip down screen at the time and stuff like that. So I'm super happy to see Nikon refreshing the Nikon Z52 finally, and basically bringing in all these like different features and things that like the ZFC, the Z30 brought in, and then improving on it, adding the flagship imaging processor, adding in the picture control button, adding in UVC, UAC. Like this is the creator camera that like we've been waiting for. And it's kind of crazy to think that like 5 years ago, you know, there's a lot of people asking for these features 5 years ago. And I feel like if Nikon had released a camera like this 5 years ago, I think we'd be having a way different conversation today as far as like Nikon being behind and other companies being ahead. So it's, I don't know, you know, it's like people talking about how like Android is always so much further ahead than iOS with like all these different features. I can't even name them. There's just so many features that Android had way before iOS. But then like when iOS finally comes out with those features, like those features work so good, like, you know, and they take time to develop them in their software and it just works really well. I feel like that's what Nikon is. Like Nikon seems to be like the iOS of camera brands out there. To me, that's in my opinion. And I feel like just every camera they put out there, like, yeah, they may not be first to the party, but their cameras are freaking sick. They're budget friendly. Like you're not gonna be breaking the bank with Nikon cameras and Nikon lenses, and you're gonna get superb quality. You're gonna get really good ergonomics, good battery life, and I'm super pleased to see this announcement for the Z52. I hope you enjoyed that video. That was a really good video, very insightful, and I hope you enjoyed all the different commentary in there. Drop down in the comments below if you have any opinions or comments on the video itself. And if you want to watch more content that has to deal with Nikon, definitely check out this video. Did you know that there are Nikon miniature cameras that you can get from gotcha machines in Japan? It's pretty crazy. Check it out.